Well, good morning and welcome back to Dr. Ruby Says. When I started these lives, maybe about a year or so ago, I started them with the intention of just dropping some quick nuggets and keeping it moving. And I have really, really enjoyed sharing this content. That typically the content that I share on my Dr. Ruby Says is associated with my newsletters, which will soon become a blog. Yay. My son and I are working on preparing a blog. And thanks to my dear friend Kim Over, who said, hey, what are you going to do with all those newsletters? Are they just going to sit in an archive somewhere where they have limited access? She said, why don't you create more global access with your newsletters by creating a blog? So be on the watch out the beginning of June, for a blog, so that if you don't desire to have a newsletter that comes to your inbox or your email every week, you can always go and look up the blog. So another avenue for Dr. Ruby Says. So anyway, we're going to talk about coordinating your goals today, coordinating your life with your goals. And when I started thinking about what I would share today, I started thinking about the change of the season. And as you can see, it's warm outside, so I'm sleeveless today. And, my colors are brighter. I've come out of those winter doldrums and all of that stuff. And I started thinking about, let me just say, I'm not a fashion plate. I'm not that girl. But I am a person who loves to see someone else that is so well dressed and so well coordinated in their clothes. The hair is matching the outfit, the jewelry is all coordinated. As you see, I'm a pearl girl. All you'll probably ever see me in, with few exceptions, are pearls and very simple pearl earrings. Now, I do have other strands of pearls that I change for different occasions, but it's nothing like a well put together person, a coordinated person. The tie is matching the shirt for the guys. The suit coat is matching, the shoes are matching. Now, at one point in my life, I was really into purses and, still have tons and tons of purses. And I used to make sure that my purse was always coordinated with what I have on. So what does that have to do with coordinating your goals? Anytime you have a desire for a specific type of life, you have to set a goal. I talked about that life GPS a few weeks ago. You don't set out for a destination without charting the path first, right? So it's the same with coordinating your life with your goals. And so I'm going to give you a few things that will help you to coordinate a harmonious and fulfilling life. Because one of the things that can be a total peace disruptor in my life is when my life is out of alignment with my goals. And now I'm not saying that I'm so rigid that I can't set goals and then modify those goals, because sometimes the goals that we set for ourselves are not the goals that will best fit our purpose. And so as you're setting goals and as you're coordinating your life, make sure you build in a margin for moderation, or modernization, or evaluation, or reevaluation and revamping. Whatever word you want to use, make sure that you build in something that if things start to go off course, that you don't continue down that same course and run into a collision course. But instead you say, that's not working well. Let me modify. So the first tip is manage your time effectively or efficiently. Now, for those of you all who have ever been in any of my leadership courses, or anyone who have ever heard me to talk about how to run a busy schedule, you know that I don't talk about time management. I talk about priority management. Ironically, I was teaching a class last night, and as I was talking to the students about, some of the things, and these are students that are getting a fresh start in life and a fresh start in career. And as I was talking to them about all of the things that I do, They looked at me with glazed eyes and said, "How do you do it all?" And I said, it's very simple. Number one, by the grace of God. And number two, because I've learned how to manage my priorities. And I can always tell when I have not been as efficient with managing my priorities because things start to get off sync. And so I try daily to make sure that I keep a notepad, a pen close by, so that if there are things that I need to do, that I jot them down. And I try to jot them down consistently. One of the other things that I try to do is that I have this little note app on this thing called an iPhone, and I keep a running to-do checklist. And as I do things, I hit the button to check them off. But I also like lists. I'm still old school. I'm still a pen and paper girl. Nothing brings me greater joy, and I'm sure you've heard me say this before, but nothing brings me greater joy than to see my page of to-dos full of highlighters. Now, let me real quickly tell you about my to-dos, my to-do list, or my priority management. Those things that are the most important and need to be done by a deadline, particularly that day's deadline, they're at the top of the list. And so I always have 3 to 5 things at the top of my list that are the most important things that I need to get done in that day. Those are non-negotiables. The next part of my list are those things that are important, but not detrimental. And so if I get to those things, yay, I'm rejoicing because I have more highlighting on my page, right? I'm a simple girl. Don't take much to make me happy, right? And then the third part of that list are things that if I get to, fine. If not, they carry over to the next day and they go higher up on my priority list. And so there are all kinds of things that you may need to do or you may be able to do to set your priorities or create your time or priority management system. But that's just what I use. It works for me. It works very well for me. The other thing that I do is I try to make sure that I dump my brain at night. That helps so that I don't have restless sleep. That's all a matter of managing my priorities. And that's why it's so important to record those priorities on paper, in your phone, wherever you keep a record. It's important to do that because your sleep won't be disrupted trying to remember all of the things that you have to do the next day. Calendars and schedules are vital. Use them to your advantage. I have a calendar that have the monthly calendar and then it has the daily calendar. I even use that at different times. So whatever works for you, the key is managing your priorities. That's my first tip for coordinating a harmonious life with your goals. The second is cultivating positive relationships. Oh my goodness, that's so important. On Clubhouse this morning, we were talking about creating safe spaces and how do you know if you're a safe space? I pride myself on being a person that is a safe space because I believe that I can be trusted. If a person shares their confidence with me, they know that that's where it stays. I don't have time for messy gossip. I don't have time for any of those other things. But if someone feels comfortable enough to share their confidences with me, I feel valued enough to hold those confidences. And one of the things that I always do in that relationship is to say, how do you need me to support you? What can I do to support you? Do you, in other words, do you need me to just listen right now? Are you asking me for advice? Do you just want encouragement? What is it that you need? Nothing is more important than making sure that you are being what you need to be in the relationships. Conversely, it's nothing more important than making sure that you're getting what you need to get out of a relationship. I, a couple of years ago, determined that I only want to be engaged in mutually beneficial relationships. I want to give as much in relationships as I get back because nothing is worse than an uneven relationship. Nothing is worse. And so be prepared, or prepare yourself to, as you engage in new relationships, to determine how to cultivate that positive relationship. If you find yourself saying too many, girl, let me tell you, or any of those things, then you may want to consider what's your position in that relationship. Now, everybody need a good girlfriend that they can just kick it with and be themselves with and let their hair down. But when you find yourself talking negatively about another person, then that relationship becomes unbalanced. Okay. And then third and final, practice gratitude. Be thankful. A few years ago, I think it was before the pandemic, I started a 365-day gratitude journey. And every day I wrote down at least one thing that I was grateful for. Now, what did that do for me? It helped me to develop a pattern of gratitude. Am I grateful every day for everything? Absolutely not. But every day you can find one thing to be grateful for. And I hear people say all the time, oh, I'm grateful to be alive today. Yes, that's something great. If you've ever been deadly sick and didn't know whether you were going to make it out, yeah, that's something to be grateful for. But every day I find at least something different to be grateful for. And so as you begin to coordinate your life, determine whether your life is in sync with your goals. And so if you don't know how, if you need a little help, I always invite you to go to my website, www.rubyepal.com, and schedule a no obligation 30-minute consultation. What you'll get in exchange for scheduling that consultation, you'll get a questionnaire that kind of helps walk you through what your goals are, or find out what it is that you're really looking to know. And that will help to guide our 30-minute consultation. I invite you to call me. My phone number is there, 855-627-4748. There's a little, I think I made an error on the screen, but it's actually 855-627-4748. This is Dr. Ruby Says, and I will see you on March 19th with Designing a Life You Love. Dr. Ruby, and I'm out.